Welcome to the EOB podcast where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Ben No and joining me is Sen Duong. So Sen, welcome to another podcast.
Thank you.
All right, so we were pretty off on Beauty and the Beast. It was the I guess one of the two wide releases last weekend. We threw out some numbers, but we said that we knew that we were going to be off because, as we said, our out for this is that, this movie is not made for us. And it proved to be true.
Yeah, it's not made for us. And we did throw out the number that HSX has it at, what, like 150 or something like that?
Yeah, some huge number.
Yeah, and I also said, hey, this is by far Disney's biggest adaptation, Beauty and the Beast. It was, the only animated film to be nominated for Best Picture. We did say, hey, this is the biggest animated feature being adapted by Disney yet.
Yeah, you could say out of all of their animated movies, Beauty and the Beast is probably their biggest one, the crown jewel, right?
Yep. And, the reviews were solid. They weren't as good as some of their other ones, like Cinderella, for instance. I think Beauty and the Beast was in the 70% range. Yeah, 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think Cinderella was like in the 90% range. And even The Jungle Book was somewhere in the 90% range. So the reviews weren't as great, but they were solid. They were good enough, especially for such a classic like Beauty and the Beast. And we did say, we did allude to the fact that we might be kind of low.
Well, we knew that we were kind of low. I think I threw out 90, it would open to 90.
Mm-hmm.
You said 70. We read reports that, it's going to be 100.
Hey, but if you put out
plus,
two numbers together, we're right on the mark.
Yeah. Sometimes we need to add in the numbers.
Yeah.
That is true. That's true too.
But yeah, we were super low on this. So 170 million. Some records were broken. It's the highest March release of all time, beating like Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, as you said, the highest opening for March, and a couple other records.
Yeah, definitely the highest opening for an adaptation of an animated feature by Disney.
Mm-hmm, right. The budget is 160 million, and it beat that
in one weekend.
On its opening weekend. Yeah.
And here's the thing, like we mentioned previously, Disney has Pixar, Disney Animation, they have Marvel, they have Star Wars, and now they have this whole separate department where all they do is adapt their animated classics. Every one of these are so, the box office tends to be huge and dependable and reliable, and they tend to be well-reviewed, well-regarded films. Usually, if you're a big studio, if you have one of these, you're good. It's something you can rely on. But Disney they have 5 of these. They have 5 of these hats that they can dip into whenever they're in trouble, like 150 or something like that.
The best necromancer ever. They could bring out these for another studio like dead properties to life, keep them living, keep them alive. Before with their animated features, they would just release them a couple number of years and they keep milking them.
Yeah, back then it was a home video, the explosion of VHS, and then after that the explosion of DVD. And after that kind of not die off, but the market isn't as lucrative as it was before. Now they have these adaptations. Live action adaptations that are making them buttloads of money.
Yeah, that too. I mean, and then like you said, there's the home video market where they just create this artificial scarcity. Like the vault, the famous vault. Movies go to the aisle, whatever. They just keep them, pull them off the market for a while to get them buying, to keep people buying, right?
Let's explain the vault. The vault is when
okay.
What they used to do is Disney will release the home video for a certain amount of time. I forgot how long, maybe a couple months, to their animated classics. And so families during these times, would just go in and gobble up the VHS release or the DVD release. There's this window where only at this time where you can buy the home video release. So that's the vault. But I think they've done away with that. That's one way they dip into their home video market. The other way they dip into they have these huge animated films that open to huge box office, and then they would create these direct-to-video releases that doesn't cost much money to market and doesn't cost much money to make. But these home video releases, I think one of the newspapers did an article on them. They make hundreds of millions on home video. With barely any marketing. So that's how Disney used to milk their franchises. But now they're remilking them by making these live action adaptations.
Right, that's what I mean. Another term, you encounter is, Disney. With Disney is the, their evergreen thing. They're trying to make properties like, evergreen, pretty much like I said, keeping these things alive. Keep on milking them, keeping re-releasing them or rebooting them.
Right. Here's the thing with the sequels, because these home video releases, they're not very good. Eventually, it diluted the brand, and it eventually caused their animated department to slowly deteriorate to a point where, it used to be whenever Disney released an animated feature, it would become a huge hit as an event. And after all these direct-to-video releases, the brand deteriorated, and their animated features weren't events anymore. They tend to disappoint or they bomb. And that's when Pixar entered the market, and eventually Disney bought Pixar, and John Lasseter pretty much shut down their direct-to-video department, because he basically said, hey, we shouldn't make these anymore. They're bad quality products that we shouldn't associate ourselves with. And in the long term, these direct-to-video projects dilute the brand, and in the long term, they don't work. In the long term, they're bad for the company. And instead, they make these. Instead, they put in hundreds of millions of dollars to make these live-action adaptations.
Well, sure. I mean, there's only so much re-releases that you can do without refreshing it, and these live-action adaptation is just one of the strategy to refresh the property, like Beauty and the Beast.
But I think the main thing with John Lasseter is that if you're gonna put effort into these, actually, try to make a good movie instead of just crank out these quickie direct-to-video things. Even though they make a lot of money, they eventually kill the brand.
That's one of the things is that, I mean, at Disney at that point, I think they were on like a treadmill. They were just cranking these things out and didn't really explore anything new, you could say. Didn't take any risks. So that's why that led to the rise of, the other animation department like Pixar, that came in and filled the niche.
Right. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, so let's get back to Beauty and the Beast. 170 million opening. Like I said, the budget is 160 million. It beat that in its opening weekend by 10 more million. And we were wrong on the projection. And I read that the audience for this is overwhelmingly female, and most of them are under the age of 25.
Oh, wow.
So, that's where the YA crowd went. I'm gonna
under 25
keep on bringing this YA crowd.
Under 25 doesn't mean it's mostly the YA crowd. There's probably a lot of family audience.
I know, but I'm just trying to tie it in with where this group disappeared to. So I'm gonna just bring that up.
Well, it's one of those. Yeah, sure, it's a lot of females, but it's also a lot of women bringing their daughters to watch it. While the guys go and watch either the second movie on our list, Kong or Logan or John Wick.
Well, yeah, but the thing is like overwhelmingly female.
Lego Batman movie.
Right, but overwhelmingly age 25, so that's where the young teen age girls are going to, and you can see there's a huge market for this, 170 million.
Yeah. Anyway, 170 million is one of those things that although mostly female, a lot of females.
Yeah, right. Of course, there'll be some crossover with other demographics, but hey, that's where they are. That's where this movie attracts.
Yeah. All right, we kind of talked about it. Probably move on to the second movie on our list, Kong: Skull Island. It did 28.9 million over the weekend. The drop off is 53%, which is actually not bad for a film that opened, to 60 million plus on the first weekend. So far, it has already grossed 110 million domestically at a budget of 185. So it's doing okay. It's doing solid domestically. Not great though. Let me see. The worldwide figure is at 261 million. Again, good, not great.
How much do you think it will make? You say 2 times the budget?
The worldwide figure needs to at least be double its budget in order to break a profit through home video and everything else. That means this equates to 370 million worldwide. It still hasn't opened in some huge markets yet, like China. I'm not sure if it opened in Japan yet. Doesn't look like it. Oh, it did open. Yeah. So still some big markets to open to. I think it will eventually get to 370.
Yeah, I think they looked at the numbers. Warner Brothers looked at the numbers, and that's why they're going ahead with Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think this movie's gonna make money for them, and
But yeah, it's not going to be the huge profit maker that they wanted it to be. I mean, it's like Pacific Rim. It's looking like Pacific Rim. Something that kind of barely makes enough.
but that depends on the second movie, right? It's just like, okay, we got your attention. Now it's up to them to follow that up. If they can continue on beyond, right?
What do you mean by that?
This is really the first Kong movie after the Peter Jackson one. And they went a different direction with this one, and I guess they're trying to do it more action-packed, less drama. Less drama.
Yeah. They went with pure action, pure popcorn, no romance, no drama.
Exactly. They try to turn it into really a monster movie, instead of this morality tale or ecological thing with the Godzilla.
instead of Beauty and the Beast, they went with just pure monster.
Yeah. So it's pretty much a cage match, really, on an island.
Yeah.
So and that's what it is. And here's the thing, like, okay, now they had this good opening. I feel it is well reviewed, right? But now they got the audience attention. Now they have to follow that up with the second movie.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, with Kong Skull Island, it's a lot like the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk franchise, where they have a critically acclaimed director directing the first film. It kind of disappointed. I mean, the first King Kong actually did decently well at the box office, and the reviews were okay. I mean, they were like 70% range, 75% or 80% range, kind of like what it is right now. Both of them went through a slight sort of reboot. Instead of going for a Beauty and the Beast style thing, they went with pure popcorn on the second film. The Incredible Hulk was pure popcorn. And and the figures were still not much better than the first. Even though the reaction to it was by fans were a little bit better, they just want a pure popcorn movie. They got it, but the figures aren't that much better. And it looks like it's not going to be much better.
Okay, so are you saying that Kong will follow the same trajectory as the Hulk, maybe because they share similar traits, like they don't talk?
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of. It seems like it looks like there's kind of a ceiling on how much this kind of movie can make. I think the first King Kong made about 200 million, 218 million, the Peter Jackson one. Worldwide, it made 550 million. So that's pretty solid back then. Whether or not this one can make 550 million, I don't know. It depends on how it does in China and Japan.
All right, it all comes back to China again. But of course, this movie has a kind of an uphill battle in overseas markets because of who's in it, right? Obviously there's Kong, but then like Tim Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Sam Jackson, John Good. Those are not like the big major stars.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because this is King Kong. King Kong is a selling point, not the stars. And this is
That's what they're hoping.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie that can sell to a foreign audience. Though, big monster movie, big effects movie, big summer popcorn movie. It can do pretty well in China. I don't think it opened in China yet. I can see it doing pretty well in China.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to number 3, which is Logan. It pulled in 17.5 million, about 54% drop off from the previous weekend. Domestic take right now is 184 million, and the worldwide gross so far is 524.
Which makes it already probably the highest grossing standalone Wolverine movie, and
it is,
and one of the highest grossing X-Men movies worldwide.
Oh, right. And has it passed X-Men yet?
I think it already passed the first X-Men. Worldwide is already the 4th highest grossing X-Men movie, behind Deadpool, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. So behind the last two X-Men movies, it looks like it's gonna pass Apocalypse pretty soon. Worldwide is not gonna be as big as Days of Future Past, but it's gonna get in that ballpark, probably in the 700 million range.
Yeah, it says something about the X-Men franchise when 2 single character movies, like standalone movies about just one single X-Men, can make more. Than the ensemble thing, the ensemble movie.
Yeah, say something, but at the same time, Days of Future Past is I mean, Deadpool is kind of like an anomaly. It just came out of nowhere. Even Fox didn't have much faith in it. They're like, hey, you can make this movie for under 60 million. Go ahead. Most of these superhero movies, you're talking about, $200 million budgets, and when they only threw in 60 million, it tells you how much faith they have. They had
Right.
at it. It's just kind of like, oh, we'll give you 60 million, just do whatever, don't bother us. You finish when you finish.
True, true. But then again, it also says something is that Deadpool did so well is because Fox didn't really pay attention to them. It's like, okay, you do your
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like
and
you do
it
your
blew
thing.
up beyond their wildest
Yeah,
expectation. While all the X-Men movies are like perfectly controlled, perfectly crafted,
yeah,
but hey,
yeah. And sometimes you just gotta let people do their thing.
yeah. So that's what I mean. Logan did better than a couple of the X-Men movies, right? Deadpool, of course, it came out of nowhere because I guess it didn't have the studio control, maybe.
Yeah,
So
Deadpool is what they mean when they say, "Hey, think outside the box."
yeah, exactly, and because the lack of budget, right? They did some pretty.
And of
They
course,
got creative,
yeah,
really,
and of course, you can
and it
only
worked,
you can only think outside the box when the studio gives you kind of a little bit of money and just not paying attention at you.
right? Like we said, after Deadpool, more R-rated superhero movies will follow, and
Yeah,
hey,
it seems
there
like
just goes
it
Logan.
seems like Fox is doing because of the success of Marvel, everyone's trying to find another way to do superhero movies to differentiate themselves. Warner Brothers is, they're taking the dark approach. Like, the Chris Nolan movies are dark. We're gonna go dark, even if it doesn't make sense. We're just gonna go dark, and their method is more superficial method. After the Chris Nolan movies, and the results on that great on a critical level, even though on a box office level they found some success with Suicide Squad. Being dark in that film does make sense, but Batman vs Superman, I'm not sure if being dark makes sense, or the Justice League. But in Fox's case, they found a better way. Instead of trying to appeal to just the Marvel crowd, the PG-13 crowd, they're not going to worry about the rating. They're just going to make the movie that the material calls for. If it needs to be all weighted, then it'll be all weighted.
Right now, with the success of Deadpool,
Yeah, yeah, and Logan, yeah,
yeah, but before they were definitely afraid of that R rating
yeah, yeah.
because
Before they
they
were,
thought that
yeah,
hey, superhero movies are for kids.
yeah, yeah. They only did this because they kind of hit a ceiling with the X-Men movies, and of course Deadpool kind of told them that hey, you can make all weighted, you can make something more edgy, and there will still be a huge audience for these kind of movies.
Yep, I mean they did all they could, I think, with the like X-Men versus Magneto.
Yeah,
And then they have to bring in Apocalypse and all those other things. But I think that they can tell smaller movies, I think, and it'll become successful. But hey, that's another talk. That's another talk.
yeah. They don't have to go on the whole X-Men ensemble anymore. Yeah, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, they can now focus on individual characters. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. The Marvel movies started with individual characters, and then they started putting them together. Whereas the X-Men films has started out, on the opposite spectrum, where they started out with an ensemble. Now they're going into the individual characters.
Right. Well, I mean, there's no right way to do these movies. It's just that you just have to really differentiate yourself.
And it depends on the audience. I mean, the audience with the X-Men films, the audience have already seen all these ensembles, so
Right.
so now it makes sense for them to focus on the individual characters. Whereas with the X-Men film, I mean the Marvel films, they started out focusing on individual characters, and audience want to see them together. So I guess it depends on how they've done it and what the audience wants.
Think we're going long with the X-Men, but
Yeah,
just another point is that the X-Men movie is that the underlying story, so it's always about mutants, right? People rejection from the normal
right.
people. They had to move beyond that. I think it's like, oh, you're a mutant, okay, you're an outcast, and the battle between those people who are not accepted by society and
I'm
those
not
people
sure.
who are
I'm
trying
not
to
sure if it's even that. I
fit
think
in.
the audience. There's only so many times you can see this ensemble group of people doing something together before you have to move away from it. It's kind of like all those YA movies where they kind of focus on the same thing over and over again, and eventually people there's a ceiling to um, what you can do with that kind of movies. And I feel like, like the X-Men films, you can only watch this ensemble doing things so many times before you need to focus on, on something else. And there's something else.
Oh yeah, right. That's my point. Is that they're doing the same story. They had to move on beyond
Yeah,
that.
right.
Like humans versus mutants.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to move on. But I'm sure we'll revisit that at some point.
Right.
Number 4 on the list is Get Out, the horror movie. Pulled in 13 million over the weekend. Drop off's only 36%. Domestic gross is 133 million, and the worldwide take right now is, I guess it hasn't opened everywhere yet, 136 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't really opened overseas yet.
Budget is only 4.5. Not much more we can say except that this is the horror movie. I think the director described it as a social horror. Yeah. More like with the Stepford Wives instead of really a pure horror movie. So I guess that's how he differentiates his movie from the horror movies.
Right. And of all the films in the top 10 is the one that's holding up the best. The 36% is actually slightly higher than the previous weeks. In the previous weeks, the drop-off has been in the 20% range. So it's actually we're actually seeing a little bit more erosion. Compared to the other films, it's still holding on really, really well.
All right. Moving along is number 5, The Shack. Pulled in 6.1 million. It's holding on quite well. This movie is surprising me.
Yeah,
right?
It's surprising.
Drop-off is... Yes, drop-off is only 39%. Domestic gross so far is 42 million.
Another hit in the faith-based genre. This genre is actually going steady, unlike the YA genre. Speaking of new genres.
Right. But the thing is, like this movie. I mean, not this movie, but this genre is still sort of unpredictable in its performance.
Yeah.
I mean, we can usually tell how some of these movies will do, but with these faith-based films, it's a dice roll almost.
Yeah. But we've seen enough successes that this seems like this genre will just kind of stay. It'll go on and on. We haven't seen any,
exists, but the thing is, like, we don't know how well each movie will do because, like, you've seen some movies that look like it'll do well, but it just get rejected, and some doesn't look that good. It's like, how could you explain the success of that movie, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The genre is there, the market is there, but we just don't know why people are going to these movies.
I think it just depends on how which movie the faith-based community wants to support. Because I think the Shack they really went to all the churches and they did an underground marketing thing to appeal to them. But we have seen that this community they'll support one film every once so often, but they're not going to support every single one of them.
Yeah, I think every movie that wants to advertise to this group, I think they'll go to these churches and try to appeal to them, right? I mean, that's part of the playbook in advertising, right? But like I said, or like you said, maybe they only support one movie every so once in a while.
Right.
Okay. All right. How about we move along to number 6, the Lego Batman movie. It pulled in 4.7 million in its 6th weekend. Domestic gross right now is 167, and the worldwide take is 287 million. So all in all, right now it's not as big as the Lego movie, but hey, it's with a budget of only 80 million, it's doing okay.
Yeah, well, doing good. Better than okay. Whenever you can make 3 times your budget domestically and 5 times your budget, nearly.
Well, sure, but in a sense, it's kind of like a little bit disappointing because the first Lego movie opened did so well, right? And this movie has the Batman characters and other superhero characters in it. So considering, I guess the name, figures, it's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, worldwide, it's already between 3 to 4 times its budget. Everyone sees this as a sequel to the Lego movie. And I think if you look at it as a sequel, it's kind of disappointing. But as a spin-off, it's pretty good.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying, you have Batman and you have Lego, and the two of them didn't do as well as, the first movie.
But the Lego movie has Batman, Superman, even Shaquille O'Neal.
Sure, but they take a back seat to that, that regular guy, right?
Yeah.
They're not the focus.
Right.
All right, let's move along to number 7. Finally, we'll get to one of the new releases last weekend. The Belko Experiment. It pulled in 4 million over the weekend. And our question last week was, hey, is there a market for the Purge spin-off?
Yeah.
Without it being the Purge.
Yeah.
And I guess we have our answer.
Yeah, no. And the Jason Blum name doesn't always guarantee success. Well, it's like they're like 80% guarantee, but once in a while they'll have the Belko Experiment.
No, it guarantees success, but it doesn't guarantee like over wow
right.
success.
Because the budget's only 5 million, so they're not gonna lose money. But it's not the hit that they wanted it to be. It's not the Purge.
No, it is not, and I'm pretty close with it. I say 3 million or
below.
Yeah,
you're good. I was way off.
You were optimistic. You say 12, and because you think there is a market for a Purge spin-off. All right, so we can say this experiment failed.
All right, good.
All right, time to move on. Number 8 is Hidden Figures, 1.5 million, drop off about 46%. Domestic gross is 165 million. Worldwide take is 214 million. Nothing more to say except that it's just still hanging on.
A little bit more. It's finally opening overseas in this early rollout. It's actually not bad. 49 million overseas so far. It's still kind of pretty early going. They only in the last couple of weeks released it overseas. It's not going to be at the same level as say La La Land, where it did like almost 300 million overseas. Pretty crazy. Right.
All right, number 9. John Wick Chapter 2 pulled in 1.2 million over the weekend, about 55% drop off. It's nearing 90 million domestic gross, and the worldwide take is 158 million. So hey, for the sequel, Chapter 2, it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, and of course Lionsgate's gonna keep it in theaters until it hits 100 million.
And I feel that it could survive a couple more movies, right?
We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the Taken movies, which is also by Lionsgate, by the way, this, I think, world...
Yeah, that's the great thing about this. They open up the world. From the first movie, it seems like it's one of those one movie type things. But in Chapter 2, they open it up. Because the first movie was... It definitely doesn't seem like they were planning on sequels, because it's about him and someone killed his dog. He needed
Wait, okay. No, okay. Let me do this. Okay.
All right.
They killed his dog, but they messed with the wrong guy.
Okay, good.
Come on.
Yeah. So the first movie was definitely kind of like an Ong-Bak movie with guns almost. With Ong-Bak, they took his elephant, but
right.
But it didn't seem like it's one of those movies where they plan on like multiple films. They just kind of like, let's do this, and then it became such a huge hit that on the second film they open up the world. Whereas the Taken films it seems like it's one of those premises that you can only extend it beyond so many films.
Even Liam Neeson complained about it, right? It's like, how many times can I, someone get kidnapped?
Right. Yeah. And right. And with John Wick, even when Samuel L. Jackson was in on the third film, that world is expanding. There's going to be a cinematic universe. When the eye patch guy, the real official eye patch guy, was in.
Yeah. Like I say, the world is more expansive than the Taken movies. You're gonna have showdowns with other people, other assassins as well, and exotic locations. Hey, the formula's all there.
Right.
Okay, so speaking of John Wick and Keanu Reeves, they're rebooting the Matrix.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard they're rebooting.
Wait, I need that reaction. Okay, let's do this again. They are rebooting the Matrix. Have you heard?
Whoa.
Okay, yeah, all right. There you go. Okay. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's the whole thing with the first Matrix is that there's a huge twist at the end. It's hard to remake a film that has a huge twist. I mean, sure, they can remake it, but I don't think it's going to have the same effect. It's like remaking The Sixth Sense. You already know, oh, he's a ghost. He's dead.
Right, right, right,
Because the
right.
whole thing with the first film was like, you found out at the end that he's just some person in this world, and there's a world outside of that world, and that's one of the elements of the story. The other element is, all the gun fu, the martial arts, and all that stuff. But the second time you remake it, that initial feeling of wow-ness is gone.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, the first movie because it has this twist at the end, and also I guess it's also the first movie where they bring in
Bullet
wire fu,
time, yeah,
uh,
wire fu,
bullet
gun
time.
fu, martial arts,
Yeah, all that thing is still
yeah.
new, right? Then.
Now it's like we've already seen all of it, unless they can come up with something completely new and original, a new way of doing action scenes, and because that's the first time we've seen like in American movies, Yuen Wu Ping directing, pure martial arts and guns, and it brought in that Hong Kong fight choreography, that whole Hong Kong energetic action, dynamic action with Hollywood production values. Unless they can do something unique with the reboot, I don't see. So obviously, my reaction is not that good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that movie needs to be
Yeah,
remade.
yeah,
Mainly because I don't see how you can improve upon it. Really, I mean, all improvement are really superficial. I think they could have better, like CGI or what have you. But I'm not sure if that is really improving it to a point where it's better
right.
than the original movie. It's kind of like that Total Recall
Yeah,
movie remake.
exactly.
It's kind of like that.
It's
So
all it.
people saying,
Yeah,
what's the
it's all
point?
superficial. And the problem with remaking something like Total Recall is, I mean, the story. So the only thing they can improve upon it is by modern day special effects. But the original film held up pretty well, even on a technical level. And and
Yeah.
the Matrix movies on a technical level were already top notch. It's not that the Matrix films aren't so far back that we can be wowed by just the technical improvements.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, right, if you cut out all those action scenes, the movie's actually pretty short,
Yeah,
right? And for like kung fu, right,
yeah,
or wai fu, I mean, you have to be pretty good. You have to do something pretty wild to wow people these days.
yep,
So all right. I guess both of us agree that not a good idea to
yeah.
reboot.
Because I think on with the Matrix, I think with the second one, they wanted Jet Li to be in it. I think the second one, and Jet Li declined because WB weren't willing to pay him the big bucks. I guess the only way I watch it or be interested in it is if they cast Donnie Yen in it. But anyway, yeah. So obviously we're not too big on the remake.
No, no, we're not.
Yeah,
But my reaction is like yours. Whoa.
yeah. And it's not like you're remaking an animated feature, right? Where you can say, yeah, with modern special effects, you can remake these animated films that are tough to do in live action form back then. But the Matrix movie, on a technical level, they were already top notch. They were already kind of ahead of their time.
Okay, here's another problem with the Matrix as well. People love the first movie, but then their opinion changed after the second and third movie.
Right. Because after the first movie, the second and third film were mostly on a technical level. On a story level, it's not as interesting or not as fresh. In the first film, the whole surprise was that hey, he's inside a world, he in a world within a world, but the outer layer, the outer world on the second and third films weren't that interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, all these people are just like simulations in computer or something like that. Once you got that, do you really want to go through it again?
Right. Anyway, not big on the Matrix remake.
All right, all right. Round out the top 10 with Before I Fall. It pulled in about 1 million. Huge drop off, 65%. Before I Fall is that YA Groundhog Day-ish movie.
Yeah.
And that's all that's left to say about it.
Yeah. We'll go with what you said. They all went to see Beauty and the Beast.
Right. Okay. Anything else to add, or should we move on to the new openings?
Let me see. La La Land's worldwide ticket is at 427 million. That's like a superhero movie. a successful superhero movie.
What it is? Hey, when you can sing, dance, and do all those things, you're a superhero.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the new openings. We have, I believe, 4, right?
Is it 4 or 3?
Widest release.
Well, do you count Wilson? There's only 200. Oh, yeah, 4. Slamma
Slamma
Jam.
Jamma.
Oh, Slamma Jamma. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I know.
Yeah, so we have the Chip, the adaptation of that TV show. We have Life, which is kind of a sci-fi horror movie. Power Rangers, hey. And as we said, Slamma Jamma, which is open in like a little bit over 1,000 theaters. Which one should we start off with?
Which one do you think will be the biggest?
I think I'll place my chips on Chips. The big screen adaptation of that TV show.
I don't know. I'm putting my money on Power Rangers.
All right, but since I went first, let's go with Chips. Okay, so it's the big screen adaptation of the TV show about motorcycle cops in LA, I believe. It's directed by Dax Shepard. I'm not sure. He has a history of big releases, like he's a comedian, but I guess he went behind the camera for this one. Stars Michael Pena, Adam Brody, and the man himself, Dax Shepard. No reviews on Rotten Tomatoes so far. It's an R-rated action comedy, kind of similar to the 21 Jump Street adaptation.
Yeah. So they completely went with the let's make fun of this. Wow.
All right, and I had my doubts about the 21 Jump Street movies, right? But it proved me wrong. I say, well, that was a serious TV show, right? Serious TV show, but they made it into an action comedy, and it worked out pretty well. And Chips went in the same direction.
Yeah, the only thing with Chips is from watching the trailer, you didn't really have to be Chips. It's all backroom humor, all about bromance and
the tight pants, right? The tight pants. There's a lot of slapstick humor around that.
And they play with the whole, it's two guys, and they might be getting a little bit too close than comfort. Or
right. There's this what was it? The homophobic thing.
Yeah. Kind of like Batman and Robin.
They play up that for laughs.
They play on that for laughs. Except this one goes even further. So it didn't really have to be Chips. It could have been any other movie, but they decided to go that route.
Well, it's the same recognition. It's a movie. They want to have cops on bikes, and that's what you get. All right.
Yeah, I'm not.
We didn't ask for it. I don't think people asked for a Chips movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But we got it.
Right.
So I'm having my doubts about this being the bigger movie, but hey, whatever. Okay. I mentioned 21 Jump Street. I just want to do some comparison, throw out some numbers out there. The first movie had a 36 million opening, and the sequel, 22 Jump Street, had a 57 million opening. But I don't think Michael Pena and Adam Brody are Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum.
Yeah, they're pretty far from them. I'm thinking the 8 to 10 million range. Yeah, because when you watch the trailer, it doesn't really have to be a Chips movie. It could have been any other gross out comedy movie. It's all body part humor.
It is, but hey, people kind of like those kind of humor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a bit higher.
Right.
I'm not. I don't think this movie is gonna be the biggest of the new releases anymore. Now that I think about it. But I'm still gonna throw in maybe about 15 million opening. All right, so I guess like our enthusiasm for this movie is not that much. We don't have that much to say about it. So how about we move on to the next one? How about the Power Rangers movie?
All right. Let me see. The first film didn't exactly lit up the box office either. The first Power Rangers movie, even though there's a huge fan base.
Yeah, but that was before they put real money into the movies.
Yeah. And plus back then in 1995, they didn't really have the money to make something the Power Rangers come to life, I guess. The transforming robots.
Mm-hmm.
Now they do after Transformers. So I'm not sure how big it is. I mean, every kid likes every boy like Power Rangers, and I guess girls too, but mostly boys like Power Rangers. But then the first one didn't. I mean, it opened to 13 million, did about 38 million back in 1995. So opened in the summer of 95, and then I mean, I guess it's okay, 38 million, but it wasn't exactly like a huge hit.
Okay, before you say anything else, I just want to bring in this. Power Rangers, it is really a superhero movie,
Hmm.
but is it more like Chronicle, or is it more like the Maze Runner?
Yeah, in the trailer they made it. They obviously follow the Chronicle template. With these high school kids who discover they have these powers and they learn how to use it. And with this one, they all eventually try to use these powers as superheroes.
Okay, want to get this out of the way first. The movie looks good, all right, visual-wise, but is it too similar to the other movies that we knew that kind of fell off the cliff? The ones that kind of like that target the YA genre, like Maze Runner, Divergent. There's the recent one, Max Power.
Yeah. Although this one I think goes a bit younger. There's another thing I don't like about it is they went dark. It seems like everyone wants to go dark, in order to separate themselves. Because aesthetically, that's the easiest thing to do. Plus, it's probably easier on the budget to go dark. On RT, on Rotten Tomatoes, there are only 9 reviews so far, and it's 44%. I'm going with 20 million.
Okay, and I have to mention this movie has a lot of writers in it. So people who touched the script, so you can tell they went through a couple of revisions. And Elizabeth Banks playing the bad guy.
Hey, that's interesting.
Could be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I'm going up doing a 20 million opening.
Yeah, but is the brand strong enough?
Yeah, it's strong enough on TV, but is it one of those things where there's so much of it on TV that, well, parents want to take their kids out to the theaters to see it when there's already so much of it on Netflix, for instance.
All right. Let's see. First movie, 13 million opening. Second movie, 8 million opening. So, okay, I'm gonna go a bit below you. I'm gonna say 15 million opening.
I'm going with 20.
Yeah, even though the special effects are there, but hey, it's kind of targeting that fickle group, I feel.
Do you think it's the
That
YA
might
crowd
go to
though?
theaters to
I
watch
think it's
some
younger,
other
right? Because the
movies.
Power Rangers has always been little boys. I mean, fans of the Power Rangers. It's never that YA crowd. By that time, they've already outgrown it.
Yeah, that's true, but will they go to watch Power Rangers, this movie? I don't know. Because like with the movie, the previous one, they at least they have the TV shows to go on.
Yeah.
I don't think the brand here right now is as strong as it was before. So 15 million.
Yeah, okay, 15 million. I'm going 20.
Okay. All right, then how about we move on to Life, the horror movie, Horror in Space, starring Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
So they discovered, that group of astronauts or scientists, both they're the same really. They discovered a life form on Mars. They brought it up into the space station. It continues to grow and multiply, and it's out to kill them. And it's coming to Earth
Right. Kind of like
on that space station.
Kind of like aliens.
Yes.
Or Alien.
It starts off like The Martian. Yeah, it starts off like The Martian, and then it ends up kind of like The Thing and Alien.
Yeah. On RT, there are only 8 reviews so far, but surprisingly good. 7 good reviews and 1 negative. I think this might have the same kind of. It might open to Jake Gyllenhaal levels.
And also maybe Ryan Reynolds numbers.
Well, Ryan Reynolds, outside of Deadpool, still can't really open a movie to huge numbers.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal, they're both at the same same
I think
level.
that it's in the 12 to 15 million. So that's my range.
Yeah, that Life. Okay, yeah, I'll throw in with you, I guess. I'll go between yours, 13. And how about we move on to Slamma Jamma?
Okay, sure.
It's kind of a low budget movie about some guy who used to be good at basketball. He got sent to jail. He came back out, and kind of has to reconnect with his family, his neighborhood. And then there's this slam dunk contest that they all end up going to.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Neither have I. I think it's kind of a faith-based film.
Oh, another faith-based film?
Kind of.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 3.
Sure, yeah. 5.
Okay. So it's one of these movies that just pop up that's opening a lot of theaters for some reason. But hey, the community might go out to support this one.
Yeah, because the African American crowd is always dependable. And then there's the Christian crowd. But it's just kind of popped up out of nowhere, like most of these faith-based films. So that's why it's so hard to predict. You're like, they're coming up with another one. Yeah, so I'm going with 5.
Who knows? This movie did.
Could
surprise us because it has targets 2 demographic that are pretty dependable, and if they turn out for this in any significant numbers, hey, you could do quite well.
But you're going with 3, I'm going with 5.
Right. Okay. In general, I think we're pretty close with our projections on the opening numbers, right? We feel that Beauty and the Beast is still going to be hanging on to the first top spot.
Yeah,
easily, yeah. The Chips and Power Rangers. Do you think Power Rangers is going to be the top movie of the new releases with 20 million? Me 15. I think Chips might be on a similar level with 15 million. You said 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Live, Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, both actors with not a big pull at the box office. And like I said, it's kind of similar to The Martian in its opening, and then like horror happens and it turns into aliens.
But the reviews are surprisingly decent so far.
Yeah, but it only has like 8 reviews.
It could easily go down.
I think it's gonna drop huge. Yeah, gonna drop huge. I think, but who knows, right? And then Slamma Jamma, a movie that popped out of nowhere. We haven't heard anything about it. It's kind of like a film in one of these what was it, a Steadicam thing, kind of make it look more real, right? But I think the budget's pretty low. But hey, you never know what the demographic that it appeals to.
The thing about Jake Gyllenhaal, not that he's actually kind of dependable and reliable. It's just that his films always open in the 10 to 15 range. Not huge, but
he has his fans.
Yeah, he has his fans.
He might not appeal outside of that.
Yeah, but hey, if you budget your films accordingly, he'll work for you.
But this budget.
Yeah, looks pretty high, right? Like
kind of expensive.
What's the budget on Live? Looks like 80 to 100 million.
Yeah. So who knows?
Let's see. Oh, it doesn't say.
Yeah, but it looks like you said in the 80 to 100 million range. So who knows?
All right, we'll see. We'll see how these films do next weekend.
Okay, so I don't think these movies they're gonna, some of them gonna do well. I think we're gonna have some good holdovers with Logan, Get Out, and Kong. Yeah, we'll see if any of these new releases can upset some of the other one. All right, and then the next week we have the live adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week. Tune in next week to see how we did.
All right, see you guys next week.